Most players are lucky to be elite at one thing. But what if I told you there's a man who bats like a power hitter, bowls like a specialist spinner, keeps wickets like a pro, and fields like a superhero? This is a study on the most complete cricket player. Today, we decode the myth of Glenn Phillips. Phillips isn't just a cricketer, he's a glitch in the simulation. He's the man who bats with the violence of an axe murderer, bowls off spin that turns like a cobra, and fields with a level of athleticism that makes Olympic gymnasts look slow. A player so versatile, so explosive, and so physically dominant that he has redefined what it means to be an all-rounder in the year 2026. But where did this freakish energy come from? To understand the man who defies gravity, we have to go back to a backyard in South Africa. Born in East London, South Africa in 1996, Glenn Dominic Phillips wasn't built like other kids. While most 5-year-olds were learning to draw, Glenn was busy trying to find out how fast his body could go. His family moved to New Zealand in 2001, and that's where the legend began. You see, Glenn has ADHD. Most people see that as a distraction. Glenn saw it as a superpower. He had so much energy that he couldn't sit still. His parents' solution? A trampoline, not a small one. A massive Olympic-grade trampoline in the backyard. For hours every day, Glenn would jump. He would dive. He would tuck and roll. While other kids were learning the forward defense, Glenn was learning how to fall from 10 feet in the air and land safely. This is why today you see him diving across the boundary with zero fear of the hard ground. To him, the grass is just another trampoline. Imagine being 20 years old. You're playing your first full domestic season. Most kids are just trying to survive. Glenn Phillips? He was trying to break the record books. In the 2016-17 season, Glenn Phillips did something that had only been done once before in the history of New Zealand cricket. He became the first player to score a century in all 3 formats: First Class, List A, and T20 in a single season. He wasn't just scoring runs, he was bullying bowlers. He finished the Super Smash as the leading run scorer with 369 runs. But here's the detail you didn't know. He did all of this while being the primary wicketkeeper. He was squatting for 20 overs, then coming out to open the batting and smashing 50-ball hundreds. His energy levels were so high that his teammates started calling him Duracell Bunny. But the BlackCaps selectors weren't convinced yet. They saw a wild player, a player who took too many risks. They wanted him to slow down. And this is where Glenn's mindset sets him apart. In an interview, he said, "I had people tell me to slow down a lot when I was younger, but then I realized that was coming from people who couldn't do it themselves." He refused to change. He doubled down on his X factor. February 2017, when Martin Guptill went down with an injury, the call finally came. Glenn Phillips was a black cap. In the history of cricket, players usually fight to keep their roles. If you're a wicketkeeper, you hold onto those gloves like they're made of gold. But Glenn Phillips did the unthinkable. He walked up to his coaches and said, "Take them back." Why? Because Glenn felt like a caged lion. Phillips realized that standing behind the stumps meant he was only moving 10 meters left or right. For a man with his genetically prime body, that was a waste of talent. He didn't just want to participate, he wanted to hunt. This rebellion was the birth of the greatest outfielder of the modern era. He didn't just move to the boundary, he studied it like a scientist. By 2021, the keeper tag was gone. Phillips was now a specialist outfielder. In the world of T20, where matches are won by 1 or 2 runs, Glenn Phillips became the most valuable asset on the field without even holding a bat. If you want to know what clutch looks like, you look at Sydney 2022. The BlackCaps were in ruins against Sri Lanka. 15 for 3. The stadium was quiet. Then Glenn Phillips walked out. He didn't just play an innings, he played a survival thriller. He smashed 104 runs, but here's the factover detail. 40 of those runs came from running between the wickets. On a day when the outfield was sticky and boundaries were hard to find, Phillips outran the opposition fielders. But it wasn't just the runs, it was the stance. The world went crazy. Phillips realized that the traditional bat in crease stance was slow. That day, Phillips became a global icon. He didn't just save the game, he reinvented the mechanics of running. 2024, the world knew Phillips could bat and field. But the unicorn had one more trick up his sleeve. For years, he'd been practicing off-spin in the nets. Many called it a part-time hobby. They were wrong. Against the mighty Australians in March 2024, Tim Southey threw the ball to Phillips. What followed was a marathon of elite bowling, 5 wickets for 45 runs. Khawaja, Green, Head, Marsh, all falling to the part-timer. Phillips became the first Kiwi since Daniel Vettori in 2006 to take a 5-for at Wellington. He wasn't just darting the ball in, he was generating more revolutions than most specialist spinners. He proved that he could bowl 25 overs a day and then come out and bat for 3 hours. He wasn't an all-rounder by title, he was an all-rounder by stamina. January 2026, and the legend has reached its peak. Just days ago, in the heat of Nagpur against India, Glenn Phillips entered the history books again. With a blistering 78 off 40 balls, he became only the 4th New Zealander in history to cross 2,000 T20I runs. When Johnny Rhodes, the man who invented modern fielding, says that you are the best in the world, the debate is over. Glenn Phillips is the blueprint for the future of cricket. He is proof that you don't have to choose a role. You can be the best fielder, a top-tier batter, and a strike bowler all at once, if you have the work ethic to back up the genetics. He is the man who turned a distraction, like ADHD, into a career-defining edge. He is the man who refuses to slow down because the world can't keep up. This was the story of Glenn Phillips. And which story do you want next? Tell me in comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Factover for the next deep dive informational video. Thanks for watching.